Welcome to Treat Yourself Tuesdays. Before we begin, I would like to introduce the Mental Health Ambassadors Program. The Mental Health Ambassadors Program is a student peer-to-peer mental health promotion program that focuses on mental health, awareness, resiliency, and self-care. Our Mental Health Ambassadors group was originally developed by Dr. Lanzi as an Honors College Faculty Fellows Initiative in collaboration with Honors College student Juhi Agrawal, the School of Public. Today we have a guest speaker, Dr. Strang, who is an assistant professor here at UAB. She's also a board certified art therapist and the immediate past president of the American Art Therapy Association. So for this event, Dr. Strang will be discussing at-home methods to use the arts to reduce stress. And my name is Jasmine. I'm a senior and I'm double majoring in psychology and neuroscience. And I joined the Mental Health Ambassadors because I'm really passionate about studying how physical health is related to mental health, because I don't think it's talked about a lot. And as a future doctor, that's something I really want to make sure people are aware about.
Hello everyone, my name is Destyni Cravens. I'm a sophomore majoring in psychology with a minor in social psychology, and I'm also in the ABM program at UAB with a major in public health with a concentration in health behavior. And the reason I became involved with Mental Health Ambassadors was because I have personal experience with having someone I love have a mental health diagnosis, and it has always been a prevalent concern in my life because of that, and I'm also extremely passionate about mental health promotion because of these experiences as well.
Hello everyone, my name is Madeleine Cook. I am a sophomore majoring in biomedical engineering with minors in chemistry and neuroengineering. And I joined the Mental Health Ambassadors program because I'm super passionate about not only learning more about mental health myself, but also sharing that knowledge with others so we can start the process of breaking down stigma towards mental health.
For biology major, I am minoring in chemistry and psychology, and I joined the Mental Health Ambassadors program because I also have that experience with mental health in my family, and I see this as a way to provide these resources to students on campus.
Hi everyone, my name is Mary Faulkner. I am a junior majoring in neuroscience and minoring in chemistry and social psychology. One major reason why I wanted to join the Mental Health Ambassadors program is because my grandmother passed away in 2017, right before my graduation, my high school graduation. And I was very close to her, so I'm very passionate about learning about grief and bereavement and ways to cope with those issues. And I also have, like, my whole family has mental health struggles, so I feel like being able to support others who, you know, I can connect with is one reason why I really wanted to join this program.
Okay. Excited to be here today. I think this is a really neat, the Mental Health Ambassadors program is a really neat program. And, you know, I'm going to just start talking about the idea of using art to reduce stress and anxiety. And this is something you probably already know. You know, but I want to start with a couple definitions just to kind of warm up, and then we'll jump into the art part. But the idea is, so what's stress? It's any environmental or physical discomfort. It can be daily events, workplace or academic settings, social expectations. The thing is, if you perceive something as stressful, then it's stress. And that's also true for anxiety. And anxiety is just fear without a specific target. It's something often you can't take action about. If you know what the fear is, sometimes you can do something about it. But with anxiety, we've got sometimes a lot of helplessness, and it can, all stress and anxiety together can result in irritability, discomfort, inability to focus. And right now we're in a really stressful time. We're doing this mental health ambassadors via Zoom meeting. And, you know, we all know a little bit of stress is fine, right? Because that can help us kind of be at our peak. It can help us be alert and ready. We know something's important. And so that can be stressful. But when it goes on and we have helplessness and anxiety, we sometimes just need a break. You know, we have to do what we have to do, but sometimes we need a break. We need to be able to care for ourselves, and we don't always know the best way to do that. So in these stressful times, what are some things that we can do? You know, we know that exercise, relaxation techniques, things like meditation, breathing, just even sitting and breathing for a couple minutes can help reduce anxiety. Progressive muscle relaxation, spiritual practices, and my favorite, art. I can't imagine why art might be my favorite. So we're going to talk about some different things you can do. How can we incorporate some of these techniques for reducing anxiety? How can we incorporate art into some of these techniques? So I'm going to switch cameras. I'm going to stop my video here, and I'm going to switch over to kind of a demonstration. It's going to be kind of quick and simple, but hopefully it'll give you some ideas. So it's a little makeshift, but it should help. And the idea is anything that you can do, well, maybe not exercise. It's hard to do art and exercise, but a lot of breathing and focusing techniques you can use art materials for. And many of you maybe already be comfortable with art. And so in that case, just any kind of free painting, free drawing, doodling is great. The idea is to get out of your head for a little bit and get into a flow. So if you have a coloring book, you can color. There are studies that show that coloring is an effective way to decrease anxiety. You can also, you know, doodle. Well, I don't know. I doodle a lot during meetings. Some people do, some people don't. But there are lots of different ways to just get started doodling. So many of you may know the idea of Zentangles. So you can just take a square and make a couple lines. There are different patterns if you wish to do that. But the idea is you can divide up the space in different ways. And what you can do, you can use, if you have a bigger sheet of paper, you can use masking tape to divide that. But then you can fill each bit of space with a doodle or a design. And it doesn't have to be pretty. It's about getting out of your head and just finding yourself in the pattern. So you can do any kind of doodle. So you can start building up the pattern, building up a design. There are no rules with it. If you want a little bit more structure, or another way to kind of switch to meditation, you can start with a mandala where you can make a circle, start with a center, and as you breathe, you can actually create lines and shapes. Again, you can divide up the space, but you move from the center to the outside. You can hold the idea of breathing or calm or connectedness, and you can kind of make the mandala meditative. And so what's cool about this is Girija Kaimal up at Drexel did a study where she compared the anxiety reduction associated with coloring versus the anxiety reduction associated with mandala making. And it turns out both reduce anxiety, but mandala making and kind of art therapy interventions actually reduced it a little bit more. But you can just kind of doodle and draw and kind of create. Now, sometimes, so you can kind of let it keep growing. There are no rules. So sometimes, though, the other thing you can do, if you want some color, you can combine kind of the idea of color with doodles. And so with that, you can do very simple. These are just regular markers. They have a paintbrush tip, but you can use any kind of marker. Again, you can start from the center and go out. You can add color. But not many people have watercolors at home, but if you have some heavy paper and a paintbrush and some water, oops, we'll talk about the little foil person here in a second. You can begin to create color, and the paint will run, the marker will just kind of run, and you get kind of a cool design. So you can combine that with a drawn mandala too and add color to it. So I'm going to pick this up. It's going to run anyway, but you can do that on purpose. So you have all these really cool colors. And when you have those, you can do what I call reverse coloring, which is where either you can add designs around the outside, any kind of designs, or you can actually start outlining the colors. Instead of coloring in the lines, you can outline the colors and you can turn it into a design. So it begins to become something, design. And again, that can give you, all of these prompts are just ways I really would like to draw, but I have no idea what to draw. So you can start just with lines, because you might have a pencil or pen, so you can start with lines, just like a Zentangle or a mandala, or you can add color, and you can put line and color together. And if you want to, you can do markers or watercolors, and you can just kind of, again, start outlining the lines. And that gives you just a place to start with a doodle. It might turn into an image, it might not. But you can start making it into something. And sometimes it'll turn out really cool and sometimes not. But then the whole point of this is not to make a beautiful picture. You don't have to like what you do, but to give yourself time to focus on the art, to focus on creating something without judgment and just getting kind of lost in the zen. And you can do that with a regular pen if you want, just a regular pen, or if you happen to have a Sharpie at home. But what if I don't have any art materials? Well, you can do the same thing. I started this one, this is just a newspaper thing, and I did a tracing of my hand. And as I was starting to do the doodles, I wanted to reflect on, because it has the word life here, I wanted to reflect on life and gratitude and resilience. And so you can hopefully see the plants through here. But again, that idea of creating some space, just doodling within each section and allowing yourself to have a chance to focus and create an image that doesn't really have to be anything, but that you have. This is just an old piece. This is from the newspaper, Sunday's newspaper. So you can use anything if you don't have materials. So what are some things you can use at home? So if you don't have a Sharpie, most of us have pens or pencils. Highlighters come in very, very handy, because you can add color with the highlighter. So what you're doing is making your own thing to color. But you might have pens, and a lot of these pens, go back to this guy, a lot of your nice little rollerball pens, it turns out that they also blend and run, and you can add color with those as well. So you can get some really nice colors with some of the rollerball kind of pens. And then finally, what if you don't have highlighters or you don't have pens? You can use regular paper, and you can use food coloring. I'm just going to do a quick one with a touch of food coloring, a tiny, tiny bit of food coloring. Watch out, because this will stain your hands. And if you don't have a brush, you can use a Q-tip. Hopefully you can see. If you don't have a brush, you can actually use a Q-tip to add color. Or if you don't have a Q-tip, this is a rolled up piece of newspaper into roughly something that looks kind of paintbrush-like. But again, I can use that to add color and shape and design. Right, so there are lots of things you can use at home. One of my other favorites, besides food coloring, is you can make little people out of tin foil. So you start with a few sheets of tin foil, sorry about the noise here, and crumple it. Little head, little person here. Crumple it up. Who can hang out with this person? We have our two little tinfoil people. You can put scarves on them. One of the places that I work with people with eating disorders, and the staff got together and we made a whole bunch, every staff person made their own little tinfoil person, and they all kind of hung out together. And we still have them. So, all right, so we have tinfoil people. So you can do almost anything with artwork at home. I'm going to switch back to my other kind of an interesting image, but I'm going to switch back, turn this other video on. So we can keep that in the background. So the thing is, you might have started thinking, hopefully you started thinking about stuff you may have at home to create with. And so what I'd like you to do is take just a minute or two, and if you can, go ahead and look around your house and see take a minute, we've got just a few minutes left. Think about either in your head, look around your house, kind of review things, or if you want to, go grab something real quick. It might be pens, pencils. You can actually use coffee or tea as paint, found objects, collage, magazines. So take about 2 minutes and we'll have some music in the background, and see if you can find something around your house that you could use to create art with. So go ahead and start that. And we'll have some music in the background. Okay, is everybody back? We could switch to, let's see, we have to unspotlight, so we can switch back to gallery view. If you found something, would you hold it up in front of your camera? Okay. We have markers and pens and hole punches. Oh, Valerie's got hole punches, a hole punch in leaves. So you actually can paint on leaves. Destyni, what is that, a rock that you've got? What do you have there?
It's a seashell. I actually just saw it in my dress and I was like, oh, okay. And it has good texture and stuff, so maybe we can do something.
Yeah, you could use that. You could just kind of feel the texture and breathe as you work with it. What do you have? Juhi, what do you have? Is
I
that
have lipstick.
lipstick? Nice. You can use that for color. You can also use nail polish. If you have a ventilated place, you can pour nail polish onto water and dip paper into it, and it gives you this gorgeous marbled effect. Oh, Ciearria in fact, has nail polish. What else? What do you have, Robin?
A tissue box. I thought maybe similar to your aluminum foil, and a stapler.
Yep.
Lipstick too. So that's fun. Of course, markers.
Yep. So we got all sorts of cool stuff, and I was gonna have people, depending on timing, take some time to make something with yours. So I'm gonna leave that as an assignment, is to make something with the materials you found. Give yourself 5 or 10 minutes, sometime today, sometime tomorrow, and do something creative, because that creativity is where we de-stress. You can write, you can draw, you can sing, you can use your materials and create something, just thinking of the idea of connection and safety and caring, and hold those thoughts in the back of your mind as you create, and use them to be to help you decrease anxiety, to help you get back in touch with yourself and your creativity. Have space for comments or questions if you all have it.
Thank you, Dr. Strang, for all of those useful techniques for managing stress. Recently, I've been doing painting and just drawing and coloring. And one thing that I think is really important to highlight with like your presentation is that the paintings and the art that you make doesn't have to be perfect, because us as humans aren't perfect. And I think it's a really important factor to always keep in mind whenever you're creating art. It's a way to relieve stress, not to critique yourself even more. Anyone else have any other questions or comments for Dr. Strang?
Hello, I've been doing a little bit of like, just instead of drawing, sometimes I write. And you can do that too, like just thoughts that come to mind, especially the ones that keep bothering you, the ones that are repetitive. So if you just write it out or make it into a poem or something, or a song, and then just get it out on paper, then it probably won't bother you as much anymore after that, and then continuously do those things.
Yeah, and sometimes what you can do with those thoughts that you've written down, if they still kind of are intrusive, you can actually fold up that piece of paper you wrote them down on, put it in an envelope, and seal it till another time. You're not getting rid of it, but you can actually symbolically set it aside then. Now that it's written down, I can symbolically set it aside, and you can go back to it at your choice. But yeah, that's a great idea.
And I just wanted to say that I made a little something, but I think that it's important. This is the first time I've done anything really creative, or, since I've been home for a month. And so I think it's important to, like, as part of self-care, like, take time out and kind of make that part of my work day. Maybe it's like, part of my day is I need to sit and do something like this for 30 minutes or so.
Yeah. So the other thing you can do, and I did this with a friend of mine and we're trying to reschedule, is you can actually connect with somebody and make art together. You just set up a little meeting and you make art together, and you share it with each other at the end. But you can kind of talk and connect and make art together. Part of your day, make it part of your life. I think it's important.
Something I wanted to share, I'm sure that everyone enjoys taking that little trip out to the mailbox just to get out of the house, but we all have a lot of junk mail, and just taking that and just the ripping and letting the pieces fall and then creating something out of that is in itself relaxing.
Yes. That's the fun part. Is part of resiliency, part of this adaptation, is figuring out different ways of looking at all this stuff that we take for granted or don't attend to. So the idea of turning your junk mail into something that can be mindful and relaxing. You're looking at different things around your house. So that whole idea of caring for yourself, adapting materials, I think is really kind of key. All right. So thank you all for being here. You can, if you want to contact me directly, you can contact me through UAB. Or the mental health ambassadors can get in touch with me. And thank you for having me.
Well, thank you, Dr. Strang. This was awesome. I've learned so much today, and I'm so excited to try out some of these activities myself and also with my kids. And I know that the mental health ambassadors as well just really appreciate you dedicating this creative time and sharing your talents with us. And look forward to talking in future weeks with artists in residence too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.